Warning, this episode contains content that may be disturbing to some viewers. Viewer discretion is advised. Hip-hop, it's far more than just music business. It's also a culture, but sometimes in business or in culture, there are intense rivalries. None better, perhaps, than the murders of notorious B.I.G. and Tupac Shakur, both of whom were known as close friends turned sworn enemies, who were both murdered by unknown assailants. But this episode isn't for telling their most famous stories. In this episode, we will be covering the deaths of some of the, if only slightly, lesser-known unsolved murders. So let's explore the anatomy of murder. Patrick Lamarck Hawkins was a rapper from Houston, Texas. He was best known by his stage name, Fat Pat, and he was on the track to success. He was a member of the Screwed Up Clique, an American rap group based out of Houston, and was well known in the community. One thing Fat Pat didn't shy away from was making appearances. Promoters would pay Fat Pat to attend their venues, such as a club, to draw larger crowds that would have a much better time because he was there. An easy gig. Show up, have fun, get paid. However, on February 3rd, 1998, Fat Pat was on his way to a promoter's apartment to collect his payment. After knocking on the door a few times and no one answering, he realized the promoter wasn't at home. So he decided to come back another time. On his way back out of the complex, while walking down the corridor, Fat Pat was shot dead. By who? No one knows, even almost 2 decades later. Some speculate the killing was a retaliation for a robbery, but there has never been any evidence of that brought forth. Fat Pat was 27 years old. This story is connected to the previous one by blood. John Edward Hawkins, better known as Big Hawk, was not only a rapper from Houston, Texas as well, but was Fat Pat's brother. He was a founding member of the Screwed Up Clique, and he was seen as a positive force in the community, which led many to be especially devastated and confused over his murder. On May 1st, 2006, a little over 8 years after the murder of his brother, Big Hawk was intending on seeing a friend to play dominoes. He arrived at the location they were to meet and found that he was alone. He had arrived first. Without any warning, shots rang out in the night and the bullets found their mark. Big Hawk died at the scene. The only lead police had was a white car with tinted windows seen in the neighborhood that same night. It's widely said that Big Hawk was a lovable man who only spread positivity, and it's speculated that whoever killed him either mistook him for someone else or simply had no idea who they were actually killing. Big Hawk was 36 years old. Sometimes the proof to solve a case is just out of reach. James Tapp, better known as Soulja Slim, was a very popular rapper in the New Orleans rap scene. He was very much up and coming, having even collaborated with rapper Juvenile, who had an album reach the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. Soulja Slim wrote the US #1 hit song, Slow Motion. On the night before Thanksgiving, on November 26, 2003, Soulja Slim was standing outside of his mother and stepfather's house when an unknown subject approached and shot him dead. Different sources claim different things, but the most commonly found information claims that Soulja Slim was shot in the face 3 times, in the chest once. No one knew who could have killed the rapper, but in December of that same year, police arrested a 22-year-old man named Garrell Smith, who had a stolen police pistol in his possession. Someone had scratched off the serial number, but ballistics testing matched the bullets from Garrell's stolen pistol to the one used to kill Soulja Slim. With no witnesses to testify against him, he was released. But Garrell wasn't out of the judicial system's hands. He was arrested for 3 more murders by 2008, but charges were dropped for every case due to, yet again, lack of witnesses. The case of Soulja Slim's murder went cold, but perhaps not without some form of justice, as in 2011, Garrell Smith was found dead himself, with gunshot wounds to his face and chest, much like Soulja Slim. Soulja Slim was 26 years old. A devastating loss for the entire world of hip-hop. Jason Wiesel, best known as Jam Master Jay, was a famous DJ who was known by countless people as being the DJ for the famous hip-hop group Run DMC. He was a widely respected musician who was involved with playing instruments as early as 3 years old. He was a man who could often be found making new music at his recording studio in the Jamaica section of Queens, New York, the city in which he was born and spent his entire life in. On the night of October 30th, 2002, Jam Master Jay was in his recording studio when it's believed multiple individuals were buzzed into the building. What happened next is still uncertain, but sources claim that Jam Master Jay met these newcomers warmly and knew them, which would explain why they were allowed into the building without much trouble to begin with. Despite the fact multiple people had been inside the studio before anyone even came in, no witnesses saw what happened next. Jam Master Jay and an associate of his were both shot. His associate was shot in the lower leg and survived, while Jam Master Jay was shot in the back of the head and killed instantly. Speculations of what happened flew, including one that claimed a notorious drug trafficker named Kenneth Supreme McGriff targeted Jam Master Jay for violating an industry blacklist of one of Jam Master Jay's proteges, rapper 50 Cent, who had written a song called Ghetto Quran, rapping about Kenneth's drug dealing. In 2007, a man named Ronald Tanad Washington was named a suspect in Jam Master Jay's murder as an accomplice to the slaying. Ronald denied it, claiming people were trying to blame him for all of the blood in rap. Kenneth Supreme McGriff has since been convicted for a separate murder and is currently in prison. To this day, it's still unknown who truly killed Jam Master Jay and destroyed the hope for Run DMC to ever make music as a group again. Jam Master Jay was 37 years old. Thank you for watching. Be sure to press on screen now or below this video to watch the last episode on 10 terrifying dishes that'll kill your appetite. It's one you're not going to want to miss. And of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel now because you won't want to miss what's next. And I'll see you next Sunday.